Sound is consciousness. So just build a relationship with that, and it will inform you. I can't teach you how to play your instrument because it's yours. It's like, so I can't teach you how to work with sound, but I know how I do it. And then just, if you come sit with me and be in the resonance that I'm allowing through, then it will remind you of how you let the resonance through you.
So as ancient as sound is, sound, space, time, energy, all things collective, they all transmute into the same thing. They blossom into different iterations of the same stream. This is part of really how you capture yourself as a potent being, when you can isolate the fundamentals of something so spiritual and emanate it through a material world like the one we live in. You, as a mastered cultivator of the sound, having been in this space, helping people melt their inhibitions and delusions of what they perceive as reality, what is your go-to for how someone should start, a starting seed for someone's version of sound healing?
Mate, you're a poet. I didn't realize you're such a poet.
Poetry is the thing, brother. That's actually it. Actually, is the rhapsody to the remedy we refer to as that potency, and that's kind of actually, yeah. Maybe Guy better give you one of my books to read. You'll
Right,
understand.
I don't doubt it. This is exciting. Yeah, so I guess what I'd say to that is the voice is the most powerful healing instrument that we have, you know. And I think we're in a world of suppression, and we're suffering from depression, you know. And it's that's a result of the lack of expression that's wanting to move through us. Do you know what I mean? So it seems like, and what I've found is as I started to unleash my voice through writing, through sound, through whatever it is, then it started to open my life up. I look at it like this. It's like if you look from a biological level, like we've got the vocal cords vibrating from the wind, the air that's coming from our lungs, right? And if you then look at pretty much any tradition, trail it back, and you can see within the breath is the prana, the chi, the life force, the energy. Okay, so with that, then you take that concept into play. The life force energy is moving from within into form through our voice. So ultimately, then that is the instrument of manifestation, right? And so if there's a resistance to our breath, there's a resistance within our voice, and there's a resistance then within our life. So you open up the breath, you open up the voice, you open up the life. That's the way I look at it at a base level. That's where sound healing emanates from. And I think the 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 pitfall is that we look at all these fun, like the gong you got, like the gong here, all these fun instruments, and we say, hey, I want to get that, I'll be a sound healer. But we've yet to connect the dots between the life force that's wanting to emit out of us and that resonance then that can be infused into those instruments to allow for the true healing to happen. So I look at instruments in all the ancient cultures. It's everywhere. You would find it. And those instruments then are just an extension of that expression that's wanting to move through us, of life, of consciousness, I guess you could call it.
Amen to that, brother. I mean, it brings me to that point. The prophetic prophecy makers and the incantation transmuters, uh, profound spiritual icons that bring up music like, here we are, born to be king, we are the masters of the universe. Hey, Freddie, peace out, brother. I took the prince and turned to master because I am a master, my brother.
Yes.
And that's where you get it. I mean, we are communing right now with what most of my parapsychologist friends would call psychokinesis. The commune that you and I are feeding from the same stream makes you emanate. And as we speak, you feel that vibratory oscillating effect through your body because you're tuned to it. I'm tuned to it. So I see it and I feel it if I choose to. but I'm always getting high as AF. My day is just full of just one blissed out moment after another, equivalent to someone's DMT gone sideways all over the world and back again, because that's how I express myself and I'm able to experience it. The experiencer is that very moment. But everything that you say hits dead center, because that's the most ancient tool for a Taoist. We refer to that as the primordial mother. It's
Right.
creation of all things, the animation of all things. The void is that ability. Her first breath is the creation of yang, which gives life to the material world. And from that, we gestate the yin and we form life through that womb. And you
Yeah.
cycle
Right.
from the cycle of 9, giving birth to the most profound miracle for any sentient being that taps into their empathy. The superpower is the creation of life itself. Amen, my brother.
Straight, mate. Yeah. You're singing. You're singing my song, mate.
Well, I mean, you can't get down with the get down unless you're tuned into that space, and that space
Yeah.
requires a level of conditioning. And when you condition it, realizing that the currency within this dualistic expression of self, the material state, is the symbiosis, the tango between yin and yang from one stream. Now, you, as a sleuthy, deductive Sherlock to your Watson, through the chaos of human condition, the labyrinth of the finite mind, you will discover the human beingness that is the absolute of absolutes. You are one, you are whole, you are everything. Amen to that, brother.
Mate, I'm just relishing in this these pros that you're throwing out there, mate. Jeez.
Well, it all comes down to it. I mean, your
Yeah.
mastery through those tools, it's coming from your breath, right?
Yeah.
And that is the most sacred gateway for any Taoist alchemist. When I teach people Qigong, and I think you've used a couple of exercises I gave to Guy,
Yeah.
they're tangible, they are instantaneous, and they will bear fruit. Going through the full process of transformation as you burn in the alchemical architecture within the body, you grow a smaller miniature version of self as you grow the womb within the body. So that's the closest any male will feel the creation of life, and then ultimately you birth it as you condense the dantians. So this interplay of yin and yang is the compression through the breath as you refine the energy, and then you're able to transmute it through the system, and all bets are off at that point.
Yeah. No. Insane.
So to,
Yeah.
to the point, brother,
Yeah. Bring it.
you've been using gongs. Gongs are my favorite. I love them. They are my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're wielding the tool of liberation,
Mm.
being the actual gong itself, and being able to isolate it and put it in a point where it's myopic, and you give people full body arousals from this type of transformation, this
Mm.
is what you're doing with your mastery. And what was the process that you finally recognized this is the sword and tool of liberation, the poetic justice being met with your mastery?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a windy road. I don't know if I can put my finger on where that actually landed, other than there's I think if I was to trail it back, the the initial understanding that this is probably the direction I ought to go or what's calling me, in other words, um, was the hypersensitivity that I had to, like, the auditory hypersensitivity. And so, loud sounds or subtle, like invasive sounds, like they really would play on me. They really trigger me and set me off. And it was like I had to be really um, conscious of how I would meet the world and meet the sounds around me, and that kind of thing. And so in there was the actual gift. I looked at it as a curse, as this inability to be comfortable. I was startled easily. I was unsettled in my life, around people, around loud noises, that kind of stuff. And it was, you could diagnose it in many different ways, but at the end of the day, I learned to cope with that and understand it, and then realized, as I started to explore more healing work through the quiet rooms of massage spas and day spas and centers, was I could tune into the subtle vibrations of sound, the subtle vibrations of consciousness, I guess you would say.
I would,
And
I would, I would go as far as saying the more intricate subtlety per se would suggest that it was possibly a psychotic break of the mind, that you experienced something outside of yourself. The
right,
intricacy of the sensitivity of your sensory perception makes it possible for you to be the barometer, the tuning fork of people's awakening.
fantastic. I love it. Yeah.
Just because there's nothing subtle about your emanation, my friend. You're burning my eyebrows, and I'm as high as AF. So what you're putting out, I'm picking up, and I'm enjoying every second of this. So thank you.
Yeah, it's going full circle, mate. I'm just buzzing over here. So yeah, thanks for that. No, 100% right. It's the intricacies of it. Then it's the being able to differentiate and understand, and then interpret where there's a resistance to the flow of that life that wants to move through people. And I was feeling that through my hands at first on massage tables with people, and getting their emotions moving through me before they felt them themselves, because they're so numbed down to that experience. So and guiding them through that. Interestingly enough, in collaboration, I was in Los Angeles at this point, and I'm dabbling with wanting to be a musician and an actor, as everybody in LA is, and doing healing work. And it's like those worlds just came together, and innately, through some of the practices I was learning in acting class of expressing your emotion through your voice, I brought that into the massage room and was able to just guide people to just like almost starting with a sigh, or bringing in just an ah, just a release of whatever they're holding, and started then to feel the muscles that I was working on that held the tension releasing underneath my hands. So it's like that was the lab, I guess you would say. And working with people and allowing them to start to move their emotion, their tension, their holding, the pain in their body through their voice, through sound. And that really started to pique my curiosity. I'm like, well, what is this? What's happening here? How does this work? And what do I need to learn to understand this better? And so that really catapulted my journey. Clients demanding me to understand their emotions, and the psychology behind those emotions led me to spiritual psychology. And then from there, different creative endeavors led me down different spiritual pursuits of Kundalini Yoga and breathwork and shamanic work, and like you name it. As soon as you like step on that path, it moves pretty quick, doesn't it?
I definitely say so.
Yeah.
1000%. I mean, that interconnection, body to body, as infantile and ground level as it is,
Mm.
once you ignite that, all of a sudden, if we want to get all scientism on ourselves, just to lighten the load of this incredible conversation, I mean, the self receptors in the skin are transmitting this emanation that melts right down to the three treasures we refer to as the pituitary, thalamus, and pineal gland. That is the alchemical fun factory that uses the culture medium of the blood to transmit and travel this to be imperium, dominion, maestro to the 50 trillion cells that someone would look at back at them, that flesh and blood, as the body, and you manipulate, meld, and mold their flesh to the tune to raise your resonance, to raise their resonance through this union. Amen to that, my brother.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's insane. I followed that all the way down to the cells and back out to the body, mate. Wow.
And, you know, I mean, that's how we do things. That's how it's done. I mean, if
Yeah.
someone
No.
asks for the technical difficulties, here they are, but they're not. It's a potency of your selfishness to your selflessness requires a sacrifice of, per se, you are not required or need not participate in your own union. And that's where people get a little confused. The idea that you are truly whole and absolute, that holy stream of oneness does not require your participation. Your
Yeah.
finite mind is nothing more than a bankrupt, a useless, futile effort of impermanent transitory effects. That is a wave, not a permanent stream. Your magnetism is the absolute. You are eternal, immortal. You are forever.
100%. That's it. And no doing required, eh?
Well, no, I mean, your mind is not conjuring up the outcomes of your true resonance. You have mastered that state. There's no imaginarium, which is the biggest interplay of delusion when people attempt to create visual and imaginary friends that don't exist, as opposed to your perception where you are meeting the moment of your maker and everything happens through you as one stream. So, for example, when you follow instruction from an exercise that I gave Guy and you notice a response, that's not me front loading you with an expectation of what will take place. You are literally emanating and experiencing that real time, and it bears fruit. It's visceral, it's somatic, it's kinesthetic.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between imagine the sunshine running down your face. I mean, you know, we can play the hypnagogic fun factory game, and I love that as the entry level to understanding the convergence of conscious and unconscious. There's nothing better than tweaking someone, erasing their name, turning me into Justin Bieber, and, you know, making them feel blissed out in seconds, because that's what's the truth. And once they get a taste of that, then things start to change also. But I mean, the tarnished skull.
Yeah, it's a gateway, isn't it? It's to
Right.
start to relinquish the grasp that that mind has upon you through the imagination and the exploration of what's possible. And then with that grasp then being relinquished, it then allows for, I mean, that's what it comes down to, isn't it? It's just a letting go. We're so clenched into the identity of the like you say, the transitory, the impermanent, that we forget the expanse of consciousness that we are, and the you know the immortal component that is ever expanding. And it's like, so the simple way to that is to relinquish the grasp that we have upon it through the identities that we cling to, in the fear that we're going to actually, the identity is going to dissolve, right? It's like the conundrum there is that, you know, we're attached to an identity that is always going to end, but we're trying to hold on to it so it doesn't end. But then in the letting go of it, we'll find that we actually never began or ended.
The paradox. I mean,
It's the paradox, mate. That's the paradox.
right. It's we call it a point of no return, where you pass go and collect $200, or maybe not. But the truth be known, once you pass that threshold, you detach from all things systematic within a finite mind, anything that's representative of a psychotic phase of self, which is separate. So
Yeah.
this detachment puts you into a vacancy, almost completely void of the personality or ego, and then you reattach and you become supercharged. So there's a moment of mourning, an absolute absence of anything, where you just feel demoted. There's no motivation for self. There's no motivation for anything. Nothing moves the needle. But in the return, once you have conditioned yourself, you are attached. So then you have access to the tapestry of this realm, the very fabric of reality. And through the breath, you can pull on that tapestry at will, transforming anything material into a wholeness. Returning it to whole is how we generate healing within Taoism.
Okay.
Physical, energetic, spiritual manifestations are that very emanated embodiment, and that requires a conditioning. So the currency of this realm is the energy potential. That energy potential is made up of a vibratory frequential resonance. Once you meet that resonance, oh yes, it will be yours. Oh yes, it will, because you have made it possible. It's a match made in heaven, only it's on earth.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, fascinating. You got the language for the things that I have experienced, but never knew how to put words to it. It's like as you were talking about that tapestry, it's like that's the space that I feel inside as I'm in that, holding space for people and allowing the whatever the tapestry of consciousness to flow through the vibrations of the instruments of my voice into the physicality of people, that then resonates with the depth of the truth of who they are, and reminds them of
Damn,
the
you're picking it up pretty quickly. You're like, I love it, man. I love it.
right, that's it, it like. So it's like, and I find that for me, it's because people have asked me to teach this stuff before, like, oh, can you teach me sound healing, can you teach? I said, well, just go play with your, like, go play with yourself, no, go play with your voice, right? And just get in. Sound is consciousness, so just build a relationship with that, and it will inform you. I can't teach you how to play your instrument because it's yours. It's like, so I can't teach you how to work with sound, but I know how I do it. And then just, if you come sit with me and be in the resonance that I'm allowing through, then it will remind you of how you let the resonance through you. And then that's where your mastery comes in, from deepening that relationship through to that truth, that true tone that's wanting to resonate out of your experience.
Absolutely. It's always the golden rule is, if you never look someone in the eye, it never happened. If you're playing other people's instruments.
That's right.
Simple. You know what I mean? It's not non-existent, quite frankly. It doesn't meet any requirement whatsoever.
Yeah.
There is a moment that is transferring in time, and it will disappear, just as what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, baby.
That's it, right.
But yes, I mean, this is so ancient for Taoism. That is the most potent vehicle, which is the sound, and we have levels of conditioning. So any spoken word absolutely alters the fabric instantaneously.
Yeah.
As we speak, we are imbuing change and returning things to whole from the spoken word, and that generates the infrastructure of magic or just general healing. Will start
Right.
with that relationship, that intimate relationship that you have. And poetry is one of the most potent swords that we use in relation to Taoism. We refer to it as the rhapsody to the remedy. That's how we acquire that state. It's a built on experience, and we use a technique called the ultimate amber effect. where you eventually, through this conditioning, we call it absorbing of the riches, you are compressing and compacting the physical body until you are reflectant and in purpose of an amber, of a coal, of a fire. And through the
Gotcha.
breath, you are burning that in, and it's illuminating the more you respirate, and it
Yeah.
becomes so potent that you can just alter anything. I mean, the deeper nature of internal alchemy is the breath is the vehicle. So within Taoism, we teach the Nigong, which through that there's two components. That's Nidan and Weidan. Weidan is the external being drawn into the internal Nidan. And from that, you acquire the absolute stream, and that is through the compression of the breath. That's how it's so sacred. And the more you compress that into the flesh through the respiration, you're able to turn on all systems. Thunderbirds are go. All systems are on, and you have access to the melding pot, the dantians, especially the lower dantian, where you can compress the energy and transmute it at will. And, that's where I teach people things like Fa Chi or Fa Jin, where Fa Chi is like admitting electricity, Fa Jin is like admitting explosive power. There are so many variables of sensory perception that you acquire. Fun till daddy take a T-bird away. Oh, yeah.
No, it's fascinating. So is that what you refer to when, like, some of those practices that you shared with Guy, or you breathe in, you hold, and then you swallow down? Is that the packing, the compressing down?
Well, that's part of the ingestion, right? You are building an embryo inside yourself. When you hold and you hold, you're transmitting a certain reaction that evokes the pineal gland and forms what we call the golden nectar. And the saliva, you can feel it as a literal missile that drops down into the system, into the pool of the embryo, which you may not have known you were doing that, but that's exactly what you're doing because you can feel it.
Yeah, right. Fascinating.
Yay.
And then nothing.
But
no, it's exciting.
The ultimate goal of that is you go from the respiration of the body, and you breathe from consciousness. Yeah. So you're no longer breathing from the body. The longest I've ever held my breath is 18 minutes, and I did it with ease, because the respiration goes beyond anything biological, and that's a tuning. So you get to a certain point of development where your body will not show any evidence of movement, yet you are breathing deeper, longer, and holding longer than you've ever experienced when you engage a biological effect.
That's through the energetic of it all. That was happening.
Well, that's definitely a good starting point. I haven't seen that many people perform it without instruction, but yeah, that's a good starting point. I like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. No. So you guys do a lot of these workshops, and the transformation and the response you're getting from across the globe is just phenomenal, mate. You are getting people to wake up to the possibility of self-realization through your mastery, through Guy, through Petra. Is it Petra?
Yeah. Petra's.
Yeah. Sometimes are you always working as the trio, or it's just sometimes you and Guy, or as a?
Well, it's because myself and Guy are here in Australia, so it's easier for us to meet up and navigate things together. But Petra's a huge component of it. She's, when we can't have her here in person for the larger events or workshops, we're online, and we're streaming her in different things through the membership, through the retreats, this, that, the other. So it's a collaborative effort, and I think that's the beauty of it. I think it's having three of us working together gives us that ability to hold space from a collective instead of the individual. And I think as a humanity, we are craving that collective connection again. It's we've strayed from it. We've lost it, which is ironic because of the ability we have to connect so easily through technology. But we're quite disconnected from the truth of who we are and what we are. And so when we can relax into that, which is, the beauty of the three of us coming together, there was a resonance between the three of us that we couldn't have done on our own. And that resonance then is felt with the group, and then that ripples out, and then the group comes together as a collective. And then we can start to really lean into the idea or the concept of that greater oneness, that unity consciousness that's within all of us, that we've forgotten, we've strayed from in the modern world.
So what are your thoughts as a healer,
Mm-hmm.
consciously doing this over 15 years, this particular part, right?
That's right. Yeah.
A bunch of other things, but this is your bread and butter, as sound is the absolute. I find this perplexing. I've been in this space, I don't know, almost 40 years. Seems like I'm a crypt keeper at this point. But it begs the question for many people that get excited and ignited by the possibility of the paranormal, the supernatural, and this is what's really taking place. You're taking someone's attention away from their mundane reality and recognizing that they are an absolute stream through this incredible experience of conditioning that you put people through. I find that when people don't recognize that they don't have to sell their soul or sacrifice their sight, which comes from not recognizing that when they are part of a healing, that what they're not emanating is themselves. Like most people that are massage therapists, energy healers, all that kind of stuff, they always end up on my doorstep completely spent. And they're like, I'm exhausted. I have a disdain for this stuff. I hate human beings. I can't pay my bill. I'm on a sliding scale. It sucks to be me, because I was going in the name of Jesus, and now Jesus has turned his back on me. That kind of stuff goes on. But the truth be known, you have to codify the foundation. The foundation is critical, critical to your own survival. If you want the avatar, which is really a body-centric version of self, you're looking through a lens that makes it myopic, that the body is just your first person, third person, no person experience. You can move away from it at will as a stream of consciousness. It just happens to be that lens you look through, which so many people get sort of confused by. This, to maintain this, requires a level of awareness that most people bypass. It's what I call spiritual bypassing. They go, hey, I want to be Brahman, I want to be cosmic consciousness, I want to be all-knowing. And that happens. They get what they wish because they are all masters, keepers, creators, just as we all are. But then they bypass the lower energy center commitment that requires a physical emanation. This is where things get corrupted. For Taoism, the yin is the inversion or the absorption of all colors. Yang is the emission of all colors. And your mission, if you choose to accept it, Ethan Hunt, is to find the center point, is to find that point where you enter that point of centric reality and realize that you are everything and nothing at the same time. That's when you drop all the entitlement and the identity and the egoic state, and you are just enriched and accept the absolute stream of truth that we are all one. You are me, I am you. But on that journey, most people get spent or misdirected with this conditioning or lack of. In most cases, just lack of. So they literally, I've noticed over the decades that most people start strong and end weak. And that become the weakest link is their delusion in thinking that they are absolute, thinking that they are fearless, thinking in the general sense of the word is the biggest corrupter of all things.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do you suggest as someone that might come to you for wanting to learn this healing process, and what do you use for your own survival mechanism to make sure you're not cannibalized on your own, external stresses of your personality?
Wow, that's a massive question. I followed it, but wow, like that's a big portal you're opening there.
So
Um,
you don't have cognitive dissonance, you
yeah,
don't.
exactly right. No, that's critical, isn't it? That's one of the plagues of humanity at the moment. It's cognitive dissonance. Jeez. Um, I oh, for me it was I kind of I the road is windy, right? And I just kind of stumbled through it. Like I guess I would imagine we all do. And so my stumbling consisted of a lot of whacks on the head, you know, and and in that I guess what I'm saying is I kind of learned from the school of hard knocks, right? And I was a pretty hard nut, so I would beat myself up and put myself into really challenging scenarios. That I have to dig myself out of to realize where that balance point is. And so it was, I can remember when I first started doing the massage work and being there was one point where my other work fell away and I was like, just, free falling into this massage work and trying to make a living off of that income was quite a challenging thing to do. When you're getting paid by the hour, and getting a small cut of that through the different entities that are there in the consumer world. So it was 35, 40 hours worth of massage work a week to try and make ends meet. And and I would find that if I go into those massages, it took me a while to figure this out because I'd be getting migraines. I'd be, like go to a point where after that, I kind of just like drag myself with my massage table to the car and then spend 2 days on the floor, in agony. And it's like, well, what's going on? Why do I feel like I got hit by a truck? And well, why is this my head throbbing for, 24 hours? And it's like, what is all this? And it's the correlation that I found is as I was in a weak or exhausted state meeting these clients, I would be consumed by whatever was going on there is the best way that I could understand it. And so that I had to have a resilience and a foundation to stand on within myself as I met those people and held the space for them to find their healing or their release or whatever it was. And so that became critical for my survival was and for my ability to continue that pace was to like I said, I like to be in nature. I've always had a strong pull to being out in the elements with animals. I have a deeper relationships with some wildlife than I do with humans sometimes. And it's like, um, so that was my go-to, and that in essence gave me an ability to nurture uh, a foundation or a charge or a stability within myself, using breath, using the earth, using the wisdom that I gained through different practices of meditation, of presence, of stillness, of unplugging from it all, that then allow me to meet people at a deeper level. And then the tipping point was when I realized that actually it's not my giving and having to have such a strong foundation. It's me stepping aside to allow greater foundational presence to move through that then didn't deplete me. It was a teacher once told me, you've got to imagine yourself as like a pitcher of water, and you don't just tip the pitcher out onto a person to offer them the healing or the whatever they need. It's that you have the tap of infinite flow coming into that pitcher of water that you are, and you tip it a little bit to allow it to maintain its source, its energy, and then that excess of energy spills out. And so that then makes sure you have that connection coming through and overflowing into somebody instead of tipping out to somebody. And so that was a pivotal conceptual realization that then I practiced within the exploration of my work, was how do I connect in, how do I tune in to something that is wanting to move through me instead of in my desire to help, in my overcompensation of giving, that I don't deplete myself, you know. And so that's kind of been the journey. And in all that, it's a I find that it's not so much the it's not so much the it's the little tweaks of awareness, I guess you would say, is that what makes it creates this tsunami of change. Do you know what I mean? It's like oftentimes I do so much work and I commit to a practice and I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to really make this happen because I want to make this transformation in my life, or I want to do this, or I want to heal this, or this, that, the other. But it's not until I get to that point where it clicks of that shift of awareness that then allows something to pivot within myself. So I don't know how better to articulate that, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's just a little shift of awareness. And so that was a big pivot in my life, of that understanding of connecting to source. And then all the different ways of how do I connect to source, whether it's being in nature, whether it's taking time away, whether it's pausing, whether it's proper diet, whether it's, having sufficient hydration, like all these different things then lend itself to allowing for the flow that wants to move through me.
Amen to that.
Did you follow me there? Did that make sense?
Oh, 100%. I mean, if we were to translate it into Taoist cultivational practices, there are three components to the self within this material state. Is basically Jing, Qi, and Shen. Jing is the constitution you were born into this world with. It's the battery pack that is your accessible DNA. So as you are born, so you breathe. Your first gulp will actually infuse the state of your whole being from a physicality perspective, and you will come out at a battery pack level of about 80%. I've never seen someone come out at 100. But wait, there's more. With that, shout out to all Scream fans, because guess what? It's coming up, Halloween, in 2 days. But anyway,
yeah.
The truth be known, that is just the starting point, the kickoff point for anyone's absolute conditioning. So I take someone from 80%, I bring them to 100, from 100 to 1,000, from 1,000 to 9,000. You become bulletproof as you take charge of this flesh and blood that looks back at you in the mirror, is the 50 trillion cells of potential electric amplitude, power. And so when you synergize those 50 trillion cells, you're able to access this absolute power. And from that, you can then condition the body so that you are always in homeostasis. You never ever sip from your own cup, because the biggest problem is people are still controlled by their mental emotional state. Everything has an emanated state. So the thought process is, no matter how distorted, how benign, how infantile, still requires data, still requires a charge of energy. And so till you become whole, your finite mind will be the biggest turd disruptor. It will float to the top of the bowl, and you will recognize you are still deficient. Does that make sense?
No, 100%. So that's exactly what I experienced then, is this shift of perception, which didn't change the thought processes and the emotional state that I was in as I was present with the clients and the work that I was doing, that then obviously allowed the charge of energy to shift within me. and more. I would tap into a more whole state that allowed for that to flow.
Well, yeah, you tap into something that's not from your body,
Yeah,
because your
yeah,
body is just a lens. Your
yeah.
absolute is your eternal immortal self. You are immortal. You are whole. You are forever, forever. That magnetic charge is never disturbed. From the animation of the mother, that is an iteration of self. Once
Mm,
realized, you are whole, and that
mhm.
stream can never be distorted. Whereas thoughts,
Yeah,
feelings, emotions are waves. They're transitory, they're impermanent. It's like the crescendo of pop off of a firework. It peaks and then it falls back into itself,
yeah,
back into the dust.
yeah.
Everything is temporary, everything is transitory, everything is impermanent. So that's where you are able to codify and basically make it so you're creating immortality, crystallizing it in the material. By the way, that's one of my books. But hey, let's not talk about that. This is part of the Taoist path. You bring
Yeah.
immortality. It's the new pink. You make it so longevity is such that the body will hold to. Once you hit a 63-year cycle, that's how it works with the Taoism. And once you hit 63 years, you'll be able to maintain another 63 years. And once you hit that at 126, then you'll hit another 63, and so forth and so on. It's all determined by whether you are going to be the victim to your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and that your
Mm,
personality takes more charge and control rather than what is the true sense. The body is the tuning fork. The
yeah.
mind is a background chatter that doesn't really amount to anything, and your body will show you how powerful it is. If you're thinking, you're not knowing. If you're knowing, you are feeling. Feeling
Mm,
equals wisdom.
mm. Wow, love it. That's some truth right there, Mike.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess we're kind of, I don't know where you're at. We're winding down. We've got a couple of minutes left, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can hang
yeah,
tight
yeah.
there.
We'll
Yeah.
we'll go over just a tad. Don't worry about it. Well,
Oh, that's all right. It's just time, mate. Just
it
yeah,
is time. Time.
compress
I
it or extend it, whatever we need to do.
well, that's my middle name. I'm the master void of time and space. That is my
That's a,
favorite.
that'd be a long form to fill out if you got to put that on a piece of paper.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite sword or tool or trade? Is a gong? Any particular gong? It doesn't really
Oh,
matter.
look, I mess around with other instruments. You know, I've got my crystal bowls sitting over here, and so I dabble with those. And you know, the voice brings in different frequencies and vibrations. That's usually my favorite, is to get into that zone where it's just humming and just letting stuff come through. Um, Being here in Australia, I've had the opportunity to lean into the didgeridoo and utilize that. And they, you know, it's like you got your bag of tools, right? You got you got to pull out a hammer when you got a nail to drive in, and a screwdriver when you put twist the screw in. So the gong is a beautiful piece of healing and wisdom, because it just knocks the capacity to think out the window. Like you get a big gong humming with the the many overtones and vibrations and harmonics and stuff that are coming through that piece of metal, and try and hold a thought in your head. You it's impossible. And I love to do that with groups of people, just to illustrate the power of sound. Is just, in a conscious state, just say, hold a thought, think about a cat, and then I start wailing on the gong, and they're like, what were we thinking about? You know? And I go,
Right.
there's the power of sound, right? So the gong is quite a powerful piece in the journey to allow people to relinquish that grasp that we're talking to on their identity of thought, and ultimately cycling back into their emotion. So, and the beauty of sound as well then allows for that resonance to start to vibrate those places of stuckness that we hold in our body. So the didgeridoo is a beautiful piece to create that visceral somatic experience for people, being that it's coming from a piece of wood from the earth that has that 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 oomph to it. And you can't help but bring that into the space, and people feeling the grounding and the pulling down of the resistance that they've been holding. So that the gong, the bowls, the voice, the didge, those are my main go-tos. And then you could we spend the whole podcast talking about rhythm and beat, and utilizing then the rhythm of breath and the different patterns and sorts to shift the consciousness and alter the state and take people into all sorts of places.
Yeah. So, how long did it take you to master the didgeridoo?
It took a once I got it, it didn't take that long, but it was the initial. My journey with the didge was I purchased a didgeridoo from a guy in Los Angeles, and he gave me a couple lessons, and I so desperately wanted to learn to play that sucker that I literally would sleep with that damn thing. I'm like, me and you are gonna be mates, and we'd we'd hang out, and I could never make it work. I mean, I could make the tone, but the circular breathing and such, it just didn't really land for me till I come out here, and I brought that stick back here to where it was founded or built and created, and I happened to end up in a home that was in the back of the home was in a national park, basically. So I'd walk up the trail, and I found ancient engraving site. Apparently, it was the biggest one in the state. Actually, I didn't know it at the time, and I would just sit and meditate there, and there was some sort of guidance, some sort of wisdom that was just kind of like osmosis coming into me. And I would sit there and I would hear different inspirational voices come through, and the old fellows would come in and they'd say, try this, do that, and it just started to land. And I was like, wow, I can actually play this thing here. It was like being on the land, being connected to that reality, I think, is what did it. And then I really started to take it seriously because it was like some momentum. So then I probably a good 3 years worth of dabbling with it, playing with it, meeting some elders, and understanding their wisdom, their culture a bit more, understanding. I actually had a mate who makes them, so I made the one I have now is tuned into one of my crystal bowls, so it's the same tone, so which is really cool. You play the didge and the bowl starts humming. So that's a pretty cool thing. So as soon as I made it by hand up my own and understood it and the tradition behind it a bit more, then it became like a healing tool. So that was a good 6-8 year journey, and I'm still learning. So yeah,
That's potent. Yeah, I mean, that's a real manipulation, and it comes from the mouthpiece. I mean, I was a trumpet player as a young boy, and that's quite an interesting master.
I can see you with a trumpet, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it was that's to make that sweet and serenade sort of sultry sort of ambrosia effect. That you have to be able to manipulate that with respiration, and it takes a lot of toughening and conditioning of the mouth to really control that respiration. And when I started playing didgeridoo, it was kind of a similar thing. It took me a while. And same thing with shakuhachi, which is one of my favorite instruments. That is like a banger. That literally, you literally have to pray to the gods that they'll give you a little taste of something, because it's like just blowing farts out of a tube until you master the mouthpiece.
What is that? I've not heard of that instrument.
Shakuhachi, I'm a bit of a purist and everyone hates it, but it's more commonly referred to a Japanese instrument, which is absolute nonsense. It was originated in China, and then it was adopted in Japan, and it is a more conventional flute for Japan. Over historical timelines, people would refer to the shakuhachi coming from Japan, but originally came from China. So did the Japanese language. They need to get over it. I mean, it's just a variation. It's like, just like everything else, it all comes from the great land, the broad spectrum, and truly the heritage really comes from the Chinese people, not the corrupt governments. I'm not interested in that.
That's right.
But the people themselves are I've been living and breathing that for many lifetimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
but you'll have to check out the shakuhachi if you can find one.
Yeah, mate. No, you got me interested. I'll give it a
Yeah. If
glance.
anyone could tackle it, it'd be you. That's one of those things where you demasculate people very quickly, real fast. They become weak and they become soft and they just melt into a beta form and you just go, listen, bitch, let me show you how it's done. Oh, you can do anything until you can't even blow a note out of this flute. It's like, come on, man.
The challenge is taken, mate. All right, I'm on.
Well, yeah, I definitely pick it up because if you loved didgeridoo, you're going to love that. It's just an incredible instrument. Well, this is
a smaller instrument, is it? Like,
well, it's probably a where am I? It's probably about 12 to 14 inches long, and you can get them longer. They're all handmade from.
But that's good. It's easier to fit in a suitcase. I tell you, trying to travel with the didgeridoos. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's just so sweet. It's like sipping nectar once you acquire the flow. It's just it's so hypnotic, dude. It'll just like for your tools, you'll blow people's minds. They'll be melted butter. Pour them into a cup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome, mate.
Yeah, mate. I'm gonna think I'm gonna be buzzing for the next week, just having this little chat with you.
Yeah. It's real, recognize real, brother. You know what I'm saying?
That's it, mate. Yeah, pretty cool, mate.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all your social sphere and interweb under this podcast. I want everyone to go out and check out what Matt offers. You're doing this collaborative thing, but you also offer one-on-ones or other teachings and things of that nature, or is it just solely with a guy?
Yeah, look, I do open the one-on-one door occasionally, but it's I'm more passionate about the groups because it gets out there further. So yeah, we've been doing that all around the world, and it sounds like we'll be coming to hang with you soon, hey?
Absolutely.
Right, I cannot see that massive gong behind you and just pass it by. Like
you are going to.
I'm on a plane to Vegas next week. Come on.
That's
Jesus.
right. You're going to be in gong heaven, brother. You're not going to do it yourself. Have you ever seen that movie Night at the Roxbury?
Ages ago.
Like in the 90s, right? When it first
came
out.
Yeah.
There's a scene there where the two brothers, they walk into the club and then next minute there's just all these chicky babes everywhere, and they're just like, "What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?" And they're just like flowing. And this will be you in the temple. You just won't know where to start or end. You'll just be gone. God will be like, "Where is he?" It's like we are just in the hypnotic trance of his gong playing. It's just overwhelming.
Yeah. No, I gotta carry on with my fucking mallets in it, and I'm on a plane, mate. Let's go.
That's it. Yeah, the mallet for the 81 inch is like the size of a baby's head. It's massive.
Yeah, right. Just my little 32-inch mallet's not gonna work.
It's about probably 5 times bigger than that. It's great. Yeah. They're awesome, mate. They're awesome.
Mate, they're powerful.
Very
fantastic. Very. Well, thanks so much, mate. It was a pleasure to finally meet you and look forward to many more conversations.
We've just started to grow this incredible friendship. It's just the beginning, brother.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for coming in and sharing your wisdom teaching with myself and the audience. And I want to thank the universe for bringing you into my life. I want to thank the audience for sharing their time with us today. And I am your humble servant and Sifu Taoist Master San Qing. I'll see you in the next one, guys.